What is that? What is that? What is it?
They're eating her. Well, that wouldn't do at all.
Oh, no, not the beast!
And then they're going to eat me.
This isn't plans 1 through 8 from outer space.
Not the beast!
This is plan 9.
Oh, hi, Mark.
This is the one that worked.
You're tearing me apart, Lisa! Exterminate all man animals.
I'll have my revenge, and Deathstalker too.
I don't think you're pretty anymore.
I don't know what we're going to say about this movie.
Yeah. What are your initial thoughts? Just like immediate, give me like your quick one-worder for this movie.
I don't have one word, but here is my summary of this movie in a tweet.
Okay.
About 30 minutes into it, I started questioning what life choices I had made that brought me to the point of watching this movie and asking what I could have done differently.
I feel like my one word would be like phoned in.
We'll talk about that.
Oh boy.
Welcome to Bad Movie Date Night, the podcast in which we take a serious look at bad films and genre films and hopefully give them the credit they deserve. I am Nigel from ajourneyintofilm.com, and with me is my wonderful wife, Kaitlyn.
Hey, hey, hey.
And this week, we are wrapping up our 4-week Leprechaun series with the 1996 Leprechaun 4 in Space. Directed again by Brian Trenchard-Smith. Written by Dennis A. Pratt. Starring, once again, Warwick Davis, Brent Jasmer, Jessica Collins, Guy Sinner, Rebecca Carlton, and a bunch of other people that, honestly,
Don't matter.
do not matter in the slightest bit. Okay. Let's talk about this movie for a second.
Let's talk.
For weeks, we've known that Leprechaun 4 took place in space.
Right.
For weeks, we'd been wondering, why is it in space? And I would say that this is one of 2 horror franchises that have gone to space, thinking
Yes.
about the Friday the 13th series.
Right.
And in a weird sort of way, Jason X works because this one doesn't.
I mean, if I had to compare the two, I would say Friday the 13th better in space movie.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like space is kind of where you go when you want to kill your franchise. And I think the reason that a lot more franchises or series have continued is because they haven't gone to space yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Go to space, kill your series.
Exactly. So once we get Halloween in space, then that'll be over.
Mm-hmm.
And once we get Nightmare on Elm Street in space, that'll be over.
Mm-hmm.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that is just ripe for
Wow.
space.
Wow.
Hellraiser went to space.
Oh. Maybe. Here's an idea. We don't go to space.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Of course, the Hellraiser series continued past space, as did this one. It's like this. Now, I can't speak from experience yet. We have not seen Leprechaun in the Hood or Back to the Hood. But it's almost like this series had to go to the worst place possible before they could figure out the best place possible for the Leprechaun to go.
Okay, yeah. How about this? Here's a crazy pitch idea. Leprechaun in Ireland. What?
That's actually not a bad idea. Although I think Leprechaun Origins might be in Leprechaun or in Ireland.
That would be cool.
But
I want to see that.
But we don't want to see it because it's not a leprechaun in that one.
Oh.
That's the one that has some kind of monster that's killing them. It's more along the lines of The Hollow, I think.
Okay. Well, that's dumb.
The one movie in the series that was made by the WWF.
Okay. Okay.
Here's why the Leprechaun went to space. Apollo 13 was getting ready to come out. Someone photoshopped the Leprechaun's face on the poster instead of Tom Hanks, and someone said, "That's a great idea, let's do it." And the rest is history.
Alrighty.
Now, it's not uncommon for movies to be made as a result of a poster.
Right.
Sorority Babes and the Slime Ball Bolorama. Perfect example. Great
And a
example.
Good movie.
Yeah, great movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oscar-winning performances all around. Leprechaun 4, not so much.
No, not at all.
Why is it not so much? Because this movie took all of the rules of the first three and just threw them out the window.
Yes.
There's no four-leaf clover. There's no amulet.
No.
There's no wrought iron.
No. In fact, I'm not sure the leprechaun can die ever.
Yes. Actually, that was probably one of my favorite things in this movie that I found quite comical is how many times the leprechaun blew up and yet they continued to try to kill him that way.
Right. But, I mean, to be fair, if you are stuck on a spaceship with something and it's not dying, I mean, wouldn't you at least keep trying, even if it is doing the same thing? You just want this thing to die.
Yeah, I don't know. But then to take this movie in a weirder direction, because a leprechaun in space isn't weird enough.
No.
They said, you know what else we need? Another monster. And they delivered.
Yeah. A different kind of monster,
Yeah.
but another monster nonetheless.
There are so many things in this movie that feel like they were ripped from other science fiction movies that were much better than this one.
Mm-hmm.
That it kind of felt like that's all they really cared about was trying to make a science fiction movie that was like other science fiction movies.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't carry the same like lame nostalgia that a lot of current movies have.
Yeah. I also kind of feel like they were, I don't want to say out of ideas, but they were like, how can we make this leprechaun worse? I feel like that's what I'm trying to say. How can we make this leprechaun more deviant? And I feel like they didn't succeed.
No. In fact, I was really disappointed with the leprechaun in this one because he doesn't there's no fun with him.
He has no fun.
There are no rhymes.
No.
There's no neat little tricks.
I'm not even entirely sure what his plan was in this one.
He wanted to marry the princess.
I understand that.
Because he wanted to be king of this planet.
Right. But how does that work? I mean,
He's
not even... But they weren't on her planet.
No. Well, they were originally.
They were originally on her planet?
Yeah, because that's how he kidnapped her.
Wait. Hang on. I don't know what you're talking about. When we see the leprechaun and the princess, they're in the creepy looking cave thing.
Creepy's a good alternative word for it.
Yeah. So, correct? That's when we first see them?
Yeah.
But that's not her planet.
I assumed that it was.
Oh.
I didn't have any reason to think that it wasn't.
Okay.
Because, like, why would
maybe.
he kidnap her and then take her to a different planet just to
That's
go
what
back
I
to
was-
his planet?
Okay. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Got it.
You're on board now?
Yep. This movie all clicks now.
Yeah, you get all of it now?
All of it.
Oh, okay. So that's the Leprechaun's plan.
Mm-hmm.
Marry this woman, become king of a planet. I
Solid.
didn't fully understand if her dad was dead or they were going to kill him. Because they kept referring to him in the past tense, but not in a sinister sort of...
No, they didn't kill them. They were going to kill him because he said something, I'm going to kill your dad. And she was like, he's my dad. I'll kill him. You know?
Yeah, that's true. That was at the end of the movie, though, after I spent
Right.
a lot more time wondering if he was already dead.
Right. Right.
And then that's it? Like, I guess he just wanted to be king of a planet?
So then he could be rich. But he was going to kill her once he became king.
Once he decided she was annoying.
Oh, okay. That's
But
why
then
was gonna kill her?
he also realized that she was as murderous as he was, and so he kind of seemed into it. But
Yeah,
then
but
she was
then-
kind of annoying, so he gave her acne, like space acne.
Yeah, but they also, I think, both had plans to kill each other.
Yeah, because she definitely wanted to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, if you're around the block killing leprechauns, you know that he can't die, so that seems pointless.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, that would have been a way better movie than what we got because the princess can regenerate. Leprechaun can also regenerate. So what if we had like an Addams Family type situation where they're just trying to kill each other all the time?
That would be a better movie, I think.
That would be a way better movie.
He should have just made her sneeze, and then he could have married her.
Yeah, but you got to forget he's not.
I know, that's not his
I'm not
roles.
even fully convinced that he was a leprechaun in this.
He was a space alien dressed like a leprechaun.
Right. He like I
Yeah.
feel like in this they're they're trying to make leprechauns an alien from another planet
Yeah.
with lightsabers.
Oh my gosh. Can we talk about the straight Star Wars ripoff?
I mean, I don't know if just having a laser sword is a
No,
ripoff.
the
but,
whole Jabba in the Hutt, Princess Leia nonsense.
Oh yeah, they
And then a
1000% were going for a Jabba the Hutt situation.
Yes. And if you didn't pick up on it, they were like, here's a lightsaber to remind you of like what movie we're hinting at here.
Yes, which was a little kind of funny because Warwick Davis was in the Star Wars movies. So like, you know, it's like, oh, I'm in Star Wars, but I'm going to use a lightsaber as a leprechaun instead of a Star Wars character.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. The lightsaber thing, and then you never see it again. He used it one time. Maybe the leprechaun can't kill people the same way twice. Oh, that would be a good limitation. After you're alive for that long?
Yeah, I feel like you'd have to be very creative at that point.
Yeah.
Speaking of this movie just throwing all the rules out the window, he ends up on this spaceship, which we'll talk about that, along with the princess. He just wants to get the princess back so he can go marry her and get this planet.
Mm-hmm.
She's in one room. He's literally just wandering through the ship. I don't know why he can't use his magic powers to pop into the room.
Right.
I realized that they took his gold from him, but the gold was on the ship, which was weird that he didn't realize that until later because he can smell the gold.
Right.
This movie is a masterclass in how not to make a coherent story.
It is very much seemed like it's chopped together.
Yes. They wanted too many things to happen at one time. So, like, you have the Leprechaun story. Then you have the Dr. Mittenhands situation, which, yes, that is his name, Dr. Mittenhands. Disappointed that the closest thing we get to a mitten hand is the fact that his hand looks like it was cut off and reattached.
Yeah, that was weak sauce.
Yeah. His practical effects were fine. But so then there's that whole thing with Dr. Mittenhands and the monster. But then he also wants the princess's blood to remake his body because he's part robot. And then his, like, horny lab assistant, who I guess played both ways.
Yeah, that was weird.
He's like a horny yes man lab assistant.
Yeah. He's kind of annoying, honestly.
Yeah, you know what he looks like?
Who?
Mr. Frond from Bob's Burgers.
Oh, he does. And Mr. Frond was a person.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
if Mr. Frond was a person, that's
Yeah.
what this guy would be. Then there's the whole thing about the Space Marines in their contract ending at midnight, which was a hugely weird inclusion.
Right.
Do you know what I just realized?
What?
How fun it is to refer to things in movies, like sci-fi movies in the future, with the word space as an adjective. So, like, you have space leprechauns, space marines, space gold, space princess. It makes everything sound futuristic.
All I could think of was, like, spaceship, though. And then I was like, that doesn't work.
Arguably, it does, though.
I mean, yeah.
What's more futuristic than a spaceship?
What?
Space Marines. They have the Space Lounge
They do?
where they drink space alcohol
In space cups.
in space cups that I'm 99% sure I saw on sale at Walmart in the late 90s, early 2000s. Why the ship had... Okay, let's talk about the Space Marines for a second. Because the movie starts out and you think, oh, this is a Space Marine rescue mission. Well, it's not even a rescue mission at first. They are going to this planet because there's a monster terrorizing mining operations. The assumption being it's the Leprechaun. They go to kill him, find the princess, and then it becomes a rescue mission for the princess after they kill the Leprechaun, air quotes, blow her hand off. And so, like, up until this point, you think, oh, this is a military ship. They got their whole little team. Maybe they got a science guy on there. Because every science fiction movie, you got to have a science guy on the team.
Right.
It's like we had Jessica Collins as Tina. She's the science lady. And then you got horny science guy. And then you got Dr. Mittenhands. So
Right.
they're like the science team.
Right.
But then I guess they were working for Dr. Mittenhands, which why he had any investment in this mining operation is beyond us.
With the military, too.
Well, I guess, like, if you wanted to hire military people to
Outside of the military.
like do security stuff for you, which I feel
Yeah.
like that's a thing.
Sure. I mean, it's not unbelievable.
But then the other thing is they had them for 30 days
Right.
and they saved the mission for day 29.
I know. That's just poor planning. Poor planning.
And then they had to negotiate in the middle of the movie. They're like, you know what? Salary negotiation.
Yeah.
You want to keep us on? We need to debate this. I don't even know what they settled on. I didn't care.
No, I don't know what the initial one was. I don't
Arguably,
know.
there was no reason to include it.
No.
Just keep them on the ship.
Right. They didn't need a background of their contracts expiring at midnight. No.
Right.
It contributed nothing.
All you're doing with having these contracts expiring is creating a problem that didn't need to exist in the first place.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden now you need to come up with a solution for it. and the solution ends up being I don't know. This movie has so many things that just get in the way of the plot moving forward.
Yeah. We were, like 15 minutes in, and we were like, oh my gosh, like so many things have happened, but also we're only 15 minutes in, but like we're only 15 minutes in this movie.
Yes.
Yeah. It was
like in the first 15 minutes of the movie, you introduce the Marines, you introduce the love interest, you introduce the scientist, you introduce Dr. Mittenhands.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think they landed on the ship in the or on the planet in the first 15 minutes.
No, I don't think so either. They were just kind of getting ready.
They were just, yeah. And then you had to suit her up, and then you had the whole thing, and then it just...
Mm-hmm.
And then... So then you have that weird plot. The main story, I guess, is them hunting the leprechaun, which lasts, honestly, all of 10 minutes, it feels like.
Hunting the leprechaun?
I don't know.
At the beginning, you mean?
No, I feel like...
In the ship?
Yeah,
I feel
in
like
the
that
ship.
went on way too long. I feel like that was
But
easily,
really think about it. How many times they cut away to different things and then cut back to the leprechaun.
Oh.
It was only 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's weird that the leprechaun was almost a secondary character to his own movie.
Yeah. Definitely. I feel like there was a lot of other stories going on.
Even at the end, when they're fighting the leprechaun, which this movie jumped the shark with the final leprechaun fight, they still have to deal with the Dr. Mittenhands spider scorpion thing.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, there was definitely just way too much for this movie. Too much was going on.
Yeah. It's why did you even need to include the monster thing? Don't you think that not knowing the password to the self-destruct is an obstacle enough?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then they guessed it in 15 seconds?
Right. Right.
And the password input looked like some kind of weird Comic Sans thing, but the rest of the spaceship has some weird futuristic writing? What is happening?
It's kind of sad because, I do think that they decided, okay, we're going to just kind of take the Leprechaun movie in a comedic role. We're not going to take it too seriously. We're just going to have fun with it. And that's the route they went. And there's nothing wrong with that. I do think that there's a lot of potential there. But, I just feel like other movies have done that well. Look at Frankenhooker. That's a funny, good movie. Is it campy? Yes, but it has a cohesive story,
right,
that you're able to follow. And I think this movie could have done that, but instead got wrapped up in story, which they didn't even do well.
It's almost like they were trying so hard to make sure that it was a good sci-fi movie that they forgot to make a good Leprechaun movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they ended up making a bad one of both.
Yeah, it's this movie was trying to be both a sci-fi movie and Leprechaun movie.
Instead of as the title says, Leprechaun in space.
Right.
It was Leprechaun plus space.
Right.
Something I wanted to make a point of earlier. So eventually you find out that the Marines are contract, they're just hired
Right.
to be there. So this isn't their ship. You don't know what kind of ship this is, but then there's an announcement that the lounge is going to open up. I get wanting some R&R after you go down and you hunt
Right.
a leprechaun and one of your buddies died, which none of them seemed upset about.
None of them. None of them cared when any of them died.
Yeah.
Nobody seemed sad about any of them except for the one girl who was sad that her boyfriend died, but not her boyfriend. I don't know.
the girl that was upset that the leprechaun came out of his pants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was a wild scene. That's right. A leprechaun comes out of this guy's pants.
Yeah, this movie takes Leprechaun STD to a new level.
Oh my gosh. That was a choice they made, and I kind of loved it. Actually, that was my favorite part of the movie.
Oh, it was.
You see his hat, like the or the outline of his hat through his pants. It's hilarious.
You expect like any other movie to be hands first.
Yeah.
Like for his claws to rip open his pants and pull himself out. But nope, it's hat for he just stands up
Yeah.
as if
His fans are blocking him in.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, that no one's sad about this. There's just a lounge on the ship that they can party in, but like no one works at the lounge.
No.
But for some reason, the ship announced that the lounge was open. So
Maybe it's robots. We just didn't see them.
I'm assuming it is. So let's talk about something for a second. I feel like this movie falls in a long line of science fiction movies that posit that in the future, humanity is going to be so advanced that we're stupid. Mm-hmm. And I've been watching Raised by Wolves recently, and I kind of feel like that show's doing the same thing, although better, where they're too reliant on AI and machines to take care of them. Mm-hmm. They're still capable of basic functions, but the people in this movie were not capable of basic functions.
Right. Right.
But that's just a common thread in science fiction movies, and I feel like this movie was trying to do that.
But did it poorly.
Yeah, this movie just tried to do a lot of different things and did all of them poorly.
Yes.
It was a poor Leprechaun movie. Mm-hmm. It was a poor sci-fi movie. Mm-hmm. It was a poor Marines movie.
Yeah.
It was a poor everything.
Everything.
It was a poor alien monster, mad scientist movie.
Yeah. And it could have been pretty fun.
Yeah.
I think they forgot to have fun while making this movie.
I would definitely agree with that. I think that's the biggest problem is that this movie just stopped being fun. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming this movie was made to be a comedy.
Right.
But it was not funny.
No.
It was just fine.
Yeah, I don't think I laughed at anything other than the leprechaun coming out of the guy's pants. That was the only time I actually laughed in this movie.
Yeah. Actually, you know what's something I did kind of enjoy together?
What?
At the end, when the leprechaun and the princess teamed up.
Yeah.
And they were kind of like fighting against them together. Mm-hmm. That would have been a much interesting movie. Like, let's go rescue the princess from this monster that's disrupted our mining operations. Sure, we'll keep that in there. And come to find out, she's into it.
Right.
She wants to kill everybody. Mm-hmm. Go for it.
Right.
That's the movie. They want to rescue the princess, but she doesn't want to get rescued.
Yeah. I mean, sounds like a good movie to me.
And you know what? If that meant that they had to shoot it in like some weird papier-mâché caves on a planet that was clearly CGI.
Oh, the CGI in this movie.
This movie looked worse than a PlayStation game.
Oh, it was bad. Bad. I felt like I was playing a computer game.
That's exactly what it looked like. At one point, yeah, I guess we should talk about the ending. So, because it's space, they have a machine that can shrink things down because that's how you transport things in the future. You shrink them and then you make them normal size again. And they shrunk the leprechaun's gold, and he finds it, and he's upset. And through the kerfuffle of them fighting in this cargo bay, they make the leprechaun giant.
Giant.
So big, he cannot get out of this room.
It's so
It's honestly my second favorite part of the movie.
For sure.
I'm so glad that they did that because why not?
Right.
Why not flip the tables where the leprechaun's big and they're tiny and just kind of see where they go with it?
Right.
They're stuck in one room, but that's fine. And then they kill the leprechaun by sucking him out the airlock. And obviously, because of space and the vacuum, yada, 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 the leprechaun blows up. And this time, he's blown up permanently. Because how do you go back together in space without blowing up immediately?
Leprechaun magic?
He didn't have any leprechaun magic because he was blown up. That's...
Maybe.
I don't know. Because...
How's he get to the hood, Nigel?
He becomes a statue again.
What?
Yeah. He literally
So it
just...
has nothing to do with the space one?
No.
Oh.
So far, even number Leprechaun movies are doo-doo garbage.
This is true. This is true.
I can't even... I feel like we've been talking about this movie for 30 minutes, and I still don't even know where to begin talking about this movie.
I want to bring up the fact that they could breathe in space without a helmet or anything.
Well, they were just on a different planet. It's not unreasonable to think that, like, that planet has air. I mean, look at Star Wars. Like, the only time they need things to breathe is when they're on that asteroid, which they're inside of something. So even that, questionable.
I feel like they needed a spacesuit.
Well, we got the contamination suit for when they had to go into the waste disposal.
Which was a waste of a movie.
That was
Scene.
a waste of a whole scene.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, the Marines think that... Oh, I'm sorry. Space Marines think that the leprechaun is in the space waste disposal. And
Nigel's like, idiots, why would he be in there?
exactly. Why would that be the first place that they looked? They almost beeline straight for the waste disposal. They're like, you know what? This is probably the first place he would go. Especially since the waste disposal is filled with flesh-eating bacteria.
Right.
Makes perfect sense. So they're like, they make a big deal. They're like, oh, we got to put special suits on and we got to go in there and then we'll find him. For some reason, the leprechaun is in there.
So you're the idiot now.
I do. I felt like an idiot. The leprechaun also got the memo wearing his decontamination suit. Now, when you hear waste disposal, you think, oh, like maybe it looks like the trash room from
Right.
Star Wars. Maybe it's like an actual machine and they funnel waste into it. No, this is just multiple rooms in the ship that just have poop on their walls.
Yeah. So, like, the air is contaminated then?
They have,
Just in that room?
I guess. And there's like chains that when you pull them, ship lubricant comes out.
Yeah.
I would like to know all the different types of waste that go to this room and where they like, do they just fall on the floor and this,
But only if you pull the chain.
but only if you pull the chain. And there's just bacteria in there that just like, nom, 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 like eats it up. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sure.
I have so many questions. And the leprechaun cuts open Mooch because everybody's got to have a cool Space Marine nickname.
Yeah, but why was his nickname Mooch, Nigel?
I missed it. I was honestly just not paying attention.
Because he kept... I'm mad that you missed this. He kept mooching off of them.
Oh, that's right. He was the guy that kept asking for cigarettes and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I mean,
they
I guess
called
that
him
makes
Mooch.
sense. But then why did they call the main guy Books?
You know, he always has to go... He's always by the books.
But he was... Like, is he, like, playing by the books?
Yeah, he's playing by the books.
He does not seem like that type of person. And then he has that whole conversation about how he thinks he's an idiot because he has a high school diploma, which in the future, we have Space High School. So you get your space diploma. And the girl that he's into is a PhD. And he's like, what are we going to talk about? I don't know. Anything other than school related. I just can't even.
There's
But
also a guy named Styx.
was that the black guy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't understand anything. Like, it's like they tried so hard to give these people cool space nicknames because they're space marines.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, if you're in the Marines, you have a cool nickname. But
That's right.
they were just, it's almost like someone was like looking around their office naming things. Like the only one that required any thought was Mooch.
And
Let's see.
didn't. It didn't require thoughts.
It didn't. He was like, oh, we'll go on Mooch. Oh, and then we gotta have everybody else got a nickname. And then what was the girl Marine's name? I think she was just Dolores. Which is hilarious. Because then like even the sergeant, they called him Metalhead.
Well,
And
yeah.
one guy was Lucky.
Well, he did have a giant metal head.
That he did. And then they were surprised that he was a cyborg, which was not surprising to me.
Right.
He falls over and his head bursts open and all these electronics come out. And I think, you just told us that he lost half of his brain.
What
You're
did
in
you
the
think he
future.
was made of?
Right. What did you think that they would put under that metal thing?
Can we talk about what Dr. Mittenhouse looked like?
Dr. Mittenhouse looked like a head and an arm attached to an R2-D2.
Yeah, he did.
But like the R2-D2 you make in your garage when you're trying to like, this is like the Star Wars expanded universe version of R2-D2. Like someone had seen too many episodes of Doctor Who and was trying to make Davros.
Oh, it was bad.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
about when the princess just shows everyone her boobs and then they're like, that means you're going to die.
She's like, take a look at this. Like, I don't even remember what she said. She was like, take a look at this. This is your end, or
Yeah, this
something
is your
really
fate or
dramatic.
something.
Yeah, like this is your fate. Boobs?
Right?
Boobs are my fate. Like even one guy was like, all right, I'm here for it.
And then Tina was like, on her planet, that means death.
But only if a member of the royal family does it.
Okay.
Or
That's
someone
good.
with royal blood. So, you know, it's okay to look at other girls' boobs on their planet. Do you think... Now, what if, like, you're very overweight and you're a male? Is that the same thing? Do you just, like...
Yeah, what do guys use?
I don't know. It's like they were watching it's like they were making this movie and they were like, man, this movie's really falling apart. You know what we need? Boobs. But they couldn't Jessica Collins, like, you know, she's a classy lady, so she's not going to do it when she's already naked.
Yeah, but Tina, Jessica Collins, she did get her pants ripped off by Spider Guy.
Yeah, that was odd.
That was so weird.
And then she had to fight the rest of the movie in her panties and a t-shirt
Yeah.
because we're trying to reference Alien.
Yeah, that was weird. They try to reference too many movies.
There were so many. You know what? The very first scene of this movie when they show the Space Marines and, you know, there's like one girl and all those guys. I was like, oh, yeah, this person's seen Aliens before. Good for him.
Yeah.
I can't. This movie exists.
Yeah, it sure does. Someone was paid lots of money to make this movie.
Someone was paid. Almost everybody in this movie was paid more than we make to make this podcast to make this movie.
Yeah.
Which, granted, we don't get anything to make this podcast, so that's
Right.
not that hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
I cannot. I almost wanted to just jump right into Leprechaun in the Hood with you last night.
Just get it over with.
Not even to get it over with, just because I had so many questions. Like, and I just needed something to like.
Makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah. I get that.
Do I even want to ask if you have a dating question for this?
Don't marry people for their money. That's my dating advice.
That's good. That's good advice.
Yeah. That's all I have.
That's all you have. Okay. Well, fans, fellow listeners, we did not have high expectations going into this one. And I was hoping that we would be pleasantly surprised, much
As was
like
I.
Leprechaun 3.
I really wanted this to be in my top 10.
Somehow, this movie ended up being much worse than our expectations. And that's fine. We're not going to like every movie that we talk about on here. I really wanted to find something deep or interesting to talk about. But the thing is, we have no leprechaun trickery. No one gets their comeuppance for stealing his gold. I mean, I guess they all do because they stole his gold, but that wasn't why he killed them. He wanted the princess.
Right.
So that kind of threw that for a loop. No one gets their wishes turned on them. It all just kind of... It's all just people causing havoc with each other for about an hour and 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I am sorry, but I did not care for this movie.
Mm-mm.
And even though we try very hard on this podcast to give movies, to elevate, to use a word that I hate right now, movies that are looked down upon, and give them more credit than they have previously gotten, I have to say this one was doo-doo garbage.
It was. It was not good.
So
But I have hopes for Leprechaun in the Hood.
I feel like Leprechaun in the Hood might be the best in the series.
I can't
It
wait.
has potential. We'll watch it next year. Do you have any final thoughts? I'm going to wrap this up so that people don't have to listen to any more of this garbage.
I say this movie gets too much credit. It deserves to die on a shelf somewhere.
This movie deserves to be skipped,
Yes.
overlooked,
Yes.
ignored,
Yes.
forgotten,
Yeah.
all of it. This movie should not have been made.
No.
I appreciate the enthusiasm and the amount of effort that the people working on this movie put into it. Because, I mean, Dr. Mittenhands, he gave it 110%.
He did. He did.
Every
Bless
scene
him.
he was in, he was like, we're doing this.
Yeah.
Howard, the horny assistant, he's like, I'm gonna chew this scenery.
Yeah.
The commander metalhead, he said, I'm gonna give this all I got. Everybody in this movie was acting as if like they were giving all the acting.
Mm-hmm.
And so kudos to you.
Mm-hmm.
To the set designers who tried, good job. To the people working at the computers to make CGI, less of a good job. But
You did it.
But you made it, and you made a thing, and good job. I'm not going to list everybody in this movie who I want to give kudos to, but the point that I'm trying to make is this movie was made. Some people put a lot of enthusiasm into it, and others did not, and that's fine. And I appreciate the people who put enthusiasm into their work because they're the people who make the best movies sometimes. And a lot of these people have gone on to do other things, so that's great. Jessica Collins, she was in a couple episodes of It's Always Sunny. She was on a soap opera. I forget which one, though, for quite a bit. So she's done a lot. Warwick Davis, obviously, not going anywhere anytime soon. And, yeah. Guy Sinner, he was in Pirates of the Caribbean. Good for him. Rebecca Carlton, who was the princess. She was on Baywatch. And even the colonel, he was in Full Metal Jacket. And it looks like Apocalypse Now. So that's very exciting. Good for him.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, just Full Metal Jacket. Never mind. So, good job to all the people who continued to have careers before and after this movie. Do you have any final thoughts?
I say go watch Leprechaun 1, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your March.
Which is like a little bit. But that's fine.
A day or two. But enjoy.
Yes. Kaitlyn and I are watching Pam and Tommy right now. It's quite great. And as a result, in celebration, our next podcast episode is going to be the Pamela Anderson movie Barbed Wire.
Woo!
In the show, she's hoping that it's going to be her big movie break. Get
And
her
it
off of
is,
Baywatch.
Because we're talking about it on this podcast.
Arguably it is, but probably not. But we're going to talk about it next week, and we're really excited. So go watch that so that we can have a chit-chat about it. And other than that, I will go ahead and wrap us up. Thank you for listening. As always, we want you to go hit that subscribe button in Apple Podcasts or Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts so you never have to miss an episode. We are on Instagram and Twitter at Journey Into Film. If you want to support the show, head on over to patreon.com/journeyintofilm or head over to TeePublic and check out some sweet merch. Links to those are available in the show notes. And as always, never let anyone tell you that a film you enjoy is bad because they're probably wrong.
We'll talk at you next time.